Millions of you are probably working from home today. It's a new thing, isn't it? But more than half of the UK bosses say that they don't actually trust their staff from working home without monitoring them.
Spying on them.
Spying on them.
Employers can use special keystroke logging software which tracks what employees are typing, but there are some tricks to get around it, like this one, putting tweezers under the delete key so it looks like the keyboard is always being used.
Very clever.
Are you a boss who spies on their staff, or are you an employee who thinks this is a total invasion of privacy? Apprentice finalist Trey Lowe thinks it is totally wrong. Employers should not put their staff under surveillance. Business consultant Tina Knight, however, advises the companies she works with to monitor their employees. What kind of things do you use, Tina, or advise they use?
I don't actually get into what they use and advise. They bring in people like time and motion specialists.
Yeah.
But basically, it's the things to look out for. What surprises me is this is sort of all people are going, oh, they're checking. Bosses have always checked on the productivity of their staff. They've always had things set to time, things to know what people are up to. This is not something new. The only thing that's new is the technology is different, and so there's different ways to get around it. But as you've already said, staff will always find a way round.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, there's always a way of doing that. But isn't the issue here that people don't know that they're being spied on?
That, I don't call it spying, I call it checking, and I agree that when this happens, there's a trade-off. You want to work from home, there has to be a trade-off, and you need to establish those rules before that goes ahead. And I think one of the things is you make it quite clear that there will be checks and balances on them. They are expected to work for their money, and they're expected to be doing work during the... You must set the boundaries that they work in, so they should be prepared for that.
Trey, amongst these remote monitoring tools are the keystroke logging technology, so your employer can see what you are typing. Also, some software companies offer screenshots of your screen, and then on Slack, some of the employee monitoring can include logging websites you visited before opening Slack.
It's absolutely horrendous. And the funny thing is it doesn't have any impact on productivity. From what I know, the UK's productivity has been going down since 2008 anyway, or been quite stagnant. And there's no evidence for why it would make any difference. I mean, it goes as far as opening people's webcams. You know, there are so many privacy concerns, and ultimately, I think it doesn't really make a difference other than erode trust. Sometimes it has a negative impact on productivity. Are you going to be more productive knowing someone's watching your every move, looking at what you're typing? Then you've got issues of prejudice. Imagine someone's talking about or looking at IVF treatment or something. A boss is going to think, don't mark them up for promotion in the future.
Yeah,
There's so many ways to prejudice people.
Some people are lazy. We've all worked in offices and we've looked around, and there are certain people who have a reputation for laziness. Now, if those people are working from home, it's reasonable for a boss to distrust that they're actually on it all day. It's reasonable for them to suspect that they're probably not on it all day, because if they can get away with it in the office, they can get away with it much more easily.
True, but there are so many ways to check on someone's productivity than actually surveillance. I mean, imagine keystrokes, you know, your webcams. Would you want to work in that kind of environment?
Well, hang on. When I joined my first local newspaper, we had typewriters, and our editor sat in the little tank at the bottom of the office. You couldn't see us, but frequently you'd hear him say, I don't hear typing.
But that's much more different than being at home.
It's exactly the same thing.
No, but it's different. Being at home, there's surveillance happening all the time.
Yeah, but
how does that make you feel?
But you're talking about they shouldn't, you know, they'd be watching them whether they go up on things. They should be only working on the typewriter or the computer or whatever.
So if someone takes a break and goes, I don't know, onto Instagram, and one monitoring service offers you a view of the live desktop of a connected user, you'd be more than happy with that.
If you want to do private work, you do it.
Well, you might
not
just want
on
a break.
but not on the company. Yeah, fine. Then use your own personal laptop. Most companies are providing company laptops, and basically that's what it's there for
If
work.
you're using company
if you're using company property,
But there's another thing, though. You know, it doesn't actually capture things like creativity. That's one thing I don't like. You might have a worker that is so creative, and his one creative input might make a huge difference to the bottom line of that
we there
company.
have to leave it there,
It doesn't capture
Traitina.
that.
We asked you, the viewer, is it OK for bosses to spy on workers? And only a third said it was legitimate. More than 2/3 of you said no. Keep the webcams off.
Well, in that case...
Get out of our keystroke logging